Hello, welcome to this edition of Business Spotlight. I'm joined today by Lisa Moore, and Lisa is a director of Uplift Consulting, and we're going to find out a little bit more about what you do in a minute, Lisa. But welcome to the call. It's nice to see you.
It's nice to see you, Gavin.
Well, one thing I do know about you, Lisa, is you've had a varied career with various organisations. So, could you map out very quickly, how you've come to Uplift Consulting and your journey along the way?
Oh, okay. I'll try and do it really, really quickly and
Okay.
succinctly.
Yeah.
I suppose what took me to Uplift Consulting was public speaking, actually. So I've run a fitness and wellness business for a very long time for myself. But as part of that, I realized that I needed to become able to speak in public without worrying about what people thought about me. It's a bit of a long-winded thing, but I joined an organisation called Toastmasters International, which is fantastic. Recommend it to anybody, and it changed my life. So it led me down a path of public speaking, life coaching, leadership, and I ended up getting asked to come and do some coaching for some people at Kent Fire and Rescue, which led me on to going into leadership, which led me on to what I'm doing now at Uplift Consulting. We're sort of experts in leadership development, team culture, and team development.
I know you rushed through that, but there's some really interesting elements in that. I mean, the first part strikes me really as potentially a really confidence building exercise for you with the Toastmasters. But your focus has remained on leadership and sort of human development, personal development as well. You mentioned very quickly in passing fit for more. So there's obviously fitness in there as well.
Yeah, and I think if I look back over my long career, people have always been at the middle of that career. So even when, prior to running my fitness business, I trained as a personal trainer when I was 17. So the wellness bit has always been there for me. Yeah. But I was also in sales and account management. Right. And I wasn't quite so good at the selling bit, but I was very good at the relationship bit with account management and understanding people, what they needed, listening, helping. So for me, people sit at the core of what I do. I love to help and develop people.
Right. But you see, so you've highlighted your skills. Let's have a look at the passion that drives that. Where does this drive for helping people come from, do you think?
Do you know, I think it probably comes from very, very tiny baby. My mum told me that her mum came to live with us when I was really little, and she'd had a bit of what they called in those days a nervous breakdown. And apparently they just used to hand me to her and it calmed her down. So I don't know whether that was that. But I guess it's always been in me that I like people. I like to see them change. And I think also because I've been on my own journey through, starting public speaking for me was the scariest thing I've ever done. I struggled with imposter syndrome most of my life, the fear of judgment, the fear of what people thought about me.
Yeah.
And I suppose once you've gone through that yourself, you feel that you want to be able to help others to achieve that as well.
I think that's really interesting what you said there, because I'm well, 2 points, but thinking back to Toastmasters, I would imagine a lot of the people that go to that have got an imposter syndrome, and the syndrome being I'm not qualified to stand up in front of other people and talk to them.
Yeah, who am I to be doing this? I think there is that. I think there's also maybe people don't even recognize it's imposter syndrome. I think they come for various reasons. A lot of people come to have more confidence at work, speaking up in meetings.
Yeah.
And, I did a lot of coaching with people of all levels, actually, from sort of frontline people to C-suite, who, you think are going to be good at speaking, but they're absolutely petrified.
Okay.
And when you can get over that nervousness, and I think the biggest thing for me with public speaking is to be yourself.
Yeah.
And when you find your own voice and you find your own self within that makes a huge difference.
I totally agree. Before we get on to what you're doing now, just one second point on that. In your opinion, how common is imposter syndrome? I know that's a very sweeping question, but you work with people at all levels in all organizations. I'm just interested on your opinion, because one of the key elements to, I don't know if recovery is even the right word, but getting better and more proficient is acknowledgement and recognition. And certainly working with business owners, sometimes I find that recognition isn't there. They think that they haven't got a problem, or they're the only one that has got the problem. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's extremely common, and I think it's as common in men as in women. I think it's, it's marketed as a female trait, but I've seen it in both sides of the world. I don't think it ever goes away, because I think natural human behavior is we want to keep ourselves safe. So imposter syndrome is really just a fear response. It's a way of keeping ourselves safe.
A safety mechanism. Don't do this because you're going to get hurt.
If you stay in your comfort zone and it's all nice and lovely, and you don't, then you're going to be okay. So I think imposter syndrome is a good thing, but I think you're absolutely right. It's that self-awareness and that emotional intelligence to recognize what's going on for me right now. And being okay to go, oh, I recognize that that's going on for me right now. These are the things that I can do to make myself feel safer.
Nobody grows by staying where they are.
No, they
don't. That's right. Okay. So tell us about your work now, a little bit more about that. Where's the focus? What sort of development are you doing with people?
So Uplift Consulting is fairly new for me. I started there in June. And so there's 3 of us working there. And human behavior is a big part of what we do. And understanding human behavior. And we use one of the models we use, we use lots of different models, but one of the psychometric tools that we use is a model called Heart Styles. Slightly different to quite a lot of the tools out there in that it's not a typing model. It's more a model about life and behavior. And you're not given a label of you're a this. You can see where you're behaving, and behind it you can see the behaviors that are impacting on you as a manager, as a leader, as a team player, but it also gives you the tools to be able to see what's going on for other people. And then sort of aligned to that is, and I love this, it's the energy. So if I can sort of paint a picture of a team working together, whether you're the manager of the team or part of that team, if you walk into maybe a meeting or you walk into the office or there's a Teams call, you can sense if the energy's not right. We have a natural instinct to know, but how do you measure that? How do you figure out what's really going on? And this tool allows you to sort of feel the energy and read the energy to be able to look at what's going on. So perhaps you've got a manager of that team who is quite controlling, because they're in fear. Because if they can control everything, then they're going to feel safe. But micromanaging others might work for some, but there'll be some in there that will fight the micromanagement, so they'll constantly argue. But there'll also be other people in that team that will either just do as they're told, do as they say, but that's all they ever do because they're too scared to put their ideas out. Or the third person who just avoids. So then you create this energy in the team doesn't feel quite right. And for the people that are arguing, that takes high energy. So their stress levels are going to be higher. The micromanager is going to be using a lot of energy because they're controlling. The person that's dependent is just keeping themselves safe. So that takes a lot of energy as well. And the person that's avoided, well, they're just exhausted from trying not to be seen.
So I think so. I'm guessing that there's no judgments in this. You're pointing out to people what they've effectively judged about themselves. So if they're a controlling person or a micromanaging, they'll recognize it and they'll see it in themselves without the judgment that that's a good thing or a bad thing or whatever. So how do you move on from that then to remedial behaviors, getting changes in behaviors in people?
Well, it's establishing and understanding people for them to understand, why do we do what we do? So why do we do what we do? So it's the brain science behind that of understanding the fear response. And it's, I mean, I've seen it so many times where I've coached people, and what we tend to do is we deliver the model, and then we do either group coaching or individual coaching with those people. So you would look at their report and see where, you know, where are the arrows sitting. But it's then talking about and recognizing. So an example for me with public speaking when I was in sales, I avoided it for 14 years. So I think I gave one presentation in 14 years because I managed to, you know, either get somebody else in to do it or phone in sick or whatever. And that was my fear response.
Yeah. By the way, hard to imagine now listening to you talking here and then.
I know. And I sit here thinking, I go on stage and I love it now. But in those days, it absolutely petrified me. Yeah. But I didn't recognize it was a fear response. But now I recognize what was happening.
Yeah.
I could put things in place to help me grow. So to go and get some mentoring, to go and get some coaching, to go and get some training, to practice in a safe space.
Yeah.
To learn how to put a presentation together that I understood rather than, you know, I worked in IT services. I didn't really get it. You know, just all those little things. So it's, I think the first thing is that self-awareness of what's going on. But also it's, you flip it around to recognize what's happening for the other person as well, especially in team dynamics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an interesting space that you're in, isn't it? And there seems to be a lot of need and demand for, you know, the human element of being in business. Yeah. Where's this going in your opinion? Where do you think the future lies? Are you fighting an uphill battle, or are you making inroads? What's the general state?
I think it is a difficult journey. And I don't think people realize they need it or want it until they've seen it and done it and tested it and gone, oh my God, so many people have said through leadership programs that we've developed, I wish I knew this years ago.
Yeah.
I wish I knew this years ago. It would have made my life so much easier.
Listen, Lisa, I was a head teacher, as you know, and if I'd have known about DISC and communication profiling whilst I was in education, the whole story would have been different. So I totally understand that.
I mean, I think to sort of the other point around, is this an uphill battle? I think wellness, because, you know, I've been in health and fitness for all my life.
Yeah.
Wellness is something that we as a humanity need to really think about, especially in the workplace. And I know there's lots of, you know, they talk about wellness programs and things like that, but I've seen it time and time again where it's talked about, and there's
greenwashing type thing.
There's lots of stuff on the internet, and there's this, but the reality is,
where's the commitment?
They want, you know, we want performance, we want profit.
Yeah.
And is it performance and profit above people? I think we can have all of them.
You can, but you have to understand that it's something that needs to be invested in and not a cost. It's interesting what you say, because when I teach marketing to my clients, I teach very simply that there are two aspects of marketing. So one is you market to people who know what they want and make it clear that it's available.
Yeah.
The other side of marketing is you market to people who don't yet know that they have a problem and a need, and you market the solution. And that's very much where you're at, I would imagine, for many of your businesses. You're saying, look, if you invest in your people, guess what you get? Better productivity, better alignment, longer retention of your team, happier workforce.
Yeah.
But it has to be seen as an investment, and also has to be seen as a barrier in a very kind of mercenarial type approach. You know, I guess we have to point out to business owners that if they don't invest in their team, they're not going to make as much money. So it does come down to that at the end of the day.
And it does. And you can achieve a lot with teams that are in fear. You can achieve a lot with teams that you've got micromanagers and there's argumentative teams. Absolutely can. But for how long and at what cost?
Yeah.
You know, if you look at the statistics around workplace burnout now, it's just going up and up and up and up. And mental health, especially with males, you know, the numbers around, you know, for example, construction industry, I think they're 4 times higher to have suicide within the organisation, and mental health issues. And I think, you know, we really need to start thinking about health in general in the workplace and how it works.
Yeah, and I 100% agree. I 100% agree. I think it's a fascinating area. It's obviously one that drives you, and you know, people are at the heart. I know it's a cliche, but it's also absolutely true. People are at the heart of any organization, any community. You know, even the religious connotation. They say a church isn't a building; it's the people that are in it. You know,
Absolutely.
community takes a community to raise a child. All these things. There's so many elements of truth in all of these things, and I think it's fascinating to hear your journey, but also particularly how self-aware you are, and you know, and therefore how you have changed and adapted to kind of recognizing behaviors and patterns in your own thinking.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Once you know this stuff, you can't unknow it. And I remember I'd been out teaching a leadership course in the fire service, actually, and came home from the course, had driven home, had a horrible journey home, and walked in my back door into my kitchen, and my 2 girls had been cooking. It was like, if I just go, poof, that's what the kitchen looked like. And I felt this anger come up from inside me, and I just really was just about to scream. And I caught myself and thought, if I go in like a bull in a china shop and shout and scream and holler, what's the reaction I'm going to get? I'm going to get slamming doors, stroppy people. I'm going to feel horrible. They're going to feel horrible. So I took a breath, and I tell you, it's not easy. Took a breath, came in, put my bag down, put the kettle on, went upstairs, said hello to my girls, who went, "Oh, really sorry, Mum, we haven't tidied the kitchen. We'll do it later." And then I came down.
Self-awareness on their part. Yeah.
I came downstairs and tidied the kitchen. And then I thought about it and remembered the day before I'd come home from work, and I'd come home and they'd tidied the house and cooked me dinner. So I'm not saying that this is easy. It's not. But that awareness of being able to recognize how you are about to react.
Yeah.
And it's okay to react in that way. There's nothing wrong with it. But it's then being able to go, what's this reaction going to, what's the impact?
Yeah. What's it going to achieve? Exactly.
Yeah. What's it going to achieve?
You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Lisa, it's been fascinating talking to you, and there's so much in there that I want to unpick further. It's going to be a struggle to find some snippets, to be honest, but I'm looking forward to the challenge. Thank you very much for your time today. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks for having me, Gavin. It's been lovely chatting.
You're welcome.